I was able to watch a review screening for Ahsoka, so in this video I'll be giving my spoiler-free, or as spoiler-free as possible, thoughts about episodes 1 and 2. My first thought though is that this is being released during the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, the work of whose members make the show possible, so I'll drop some links in the description. My overall impression of the show after seeing the first 2 episodes though are largely positive. I'm a big Andor fan, but I have been missing some lightsaber-based action in Star Wars basically since the prequels, and this show definitely delivers on that front. Story-wise, I think what's being set up is also quite interesting. If you're a Rebels fan, even the trailers will show you we're dealing with a lot of loose ends from the show, though the root of some of the conflict is from events that happened between the end of Rebels and now. I've seen some people express concern over whether people who haven't watched Rebels will understand what's going on, but I don't think it's a problem any more than getting introduced to any characters in a new show would be. The first episode especially really underlines some of the relationships and characterization, and I don't think the show just relies on here's some things you've seen before to create its story. There's certainly some appearances from characters or ships which will be familiar to some people, but those don't overtake or become the story. In my opinion, a good cameo or reference is when something pre-existing in the universe gets pulled in a place that makes sense. You shouldn't need to know what it was to necessarily appreciate what it's doing in the new show, and it shouldn't detract from the main story of the media it's in. For example, as much as I think Ahsoka and Luke in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett had some fun scenes, they still did feel like they were misplaced in some cases, or distracted from or overshadowed what was going on in the narrative of those shows as a whole. Thus far, Easter eggs and references in Ahsoka tend to be here's a character doing what they ought to be doing if you follow Rebels through to its logical conclusion, or here's the E-Wing. None of this stuff is going to necessarily even be obvious to some people that it existed before or is a reference to anything, which I think some of the worst attempts at cameos tend to throw up in lights. They generally feel nice for people who will notice it, and I enjoy it as someone who does watch everything, but it shouldn't be a problem for people who are coming into Ahsoka for its own sake. There's plenty of time to end up with an episode like that though, but so far I don't think we're in that territory. There are some elements from the story which do seem to be building on things from prior stories or just carrying over tech or references from other media, like the droids being called HK droids that we see Ahsoka fighting in the trailers. But it again seems to be a situation where the appropriate ideas are being taken from the appropriate places. And to me, I think that's largely a positive element of having a story that takes place across multiple bits of media. Character-wise, I think Sabine is the standout of the first 2 episodes. Sabine and Hera both feel pretty true to their Rebels portrayals, and the conflicts of the show feel pretty natural to the characters of the people involved. If you like either of those characters, you shouldn't be disappointed. Baylan and Shin, the new Dark Jedi, are also interesting characters so far, especially with respect to how Baylan's backstory might develop. He's definitely got more to him than just being an evil McBad guy. On the flip side, in the first 2 episodes, I didn't find Ahsoka herself to be quite as interesting as some of the other characters yet. She feels a bit too far on the stoicism side of things. It's not that I found her boring, and there definitely seems to be some interesting exploration of the after effects of her master-apprentice relationship with Anakin. She's just not as engaging as the other characters yet to me, especially Sabine. On the whole though, I think this is a solid start to the season. I'm thinking of doing a live reaction tonight when the episodes are up, even though I have technically already seen the episodes, so if I don't do it tonight, I'll definitely be doing it for the rest of the season. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.